very much. Now we move on to Middle East. UN has declared famine in Gaza via a famine report. Meanwhile, Israel has rejected the UN-backed hunger report confirming famine in Gaza. The Coordination of Government Activities in the Territories has dismissed the IPC findings as false, biased, and based on Hamas data, insisting Israel has enabled extensive humanitarian aid. But UN Aid Chief Tom Fletcher blamed what he called Israel's systematic obstruction of supplies, saying the famine was preventable. He urged Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to allow aid in at the massive scale required. Let's listen into his full statement.
No doubt that this is irrefutable testimony. It is a famine, the Gaza famine. It is a famine that we could have prevented if we had been allowed. Yet food stacks up at borders because of systematic obstruction by Israel. It is a famine within a few hundred meters of food in a fertile land. It is a famine that hits the most vulnerable first, each with a name, each with a story, that strips people of dignity before it strips them of life. Famine in 2025, a 21st century famine, watched over by drones and the most advanced military technology in history. It is a famine openly promoted by some Israeli leaders as a weapon of war. It is a famine on all of our watch. Everyone owns this. The Gaza famine is the world's famine. It is a famine that asks, but what did you do? A famine that will and must.
The IPC report says nearly a quarter of Gaza's population faces starvation almost 2 years into the war, calling it the first confirmed famine of the conflict. Here's what WFP Director for Food Security and Nutrition Analysis Services, Jean-Martin Bauer, has to say.
Important about the IPC report coming out today is that it confirms that a famine is taking place in Gaza City. When there's a famine, that means that there is widespread starvation, there is widespread illness, and there's widespread death in the territory. What the report also explains is that famine conditions are expected to spread to 2 other governorates, Deir el-Balah and Khan Yunis, by the end of September. This is significant because in the history of the IPC, there have only been very few famines. This is the first time that a famine is confirmed.
Meanwhile, Israel pushes ahead with plans to seize Gaza City entirely despite international appeals. Thousands have fled, but many, like 38-year-old Abu Yazan al-Jadi, a wounded father of 5, say they cannot evacuate again. His wife Salam fears the family will not survive another displacement. The Gaza war has sparked by Hamas's October 2023 assault has killed more than 62,000 Palestinians, most of them women and children, according to Gaza's health officials. Now for this discussion, we are joined by Ali Muhammad Abushbak. He's an independent Palestinian researcher, joins us live from Cairo. Thank you, Ali, for joining us today. Good to see you. What more can you tell us about this situation in Gaza?
Thank you so much for having me. In fact, it was the most toughest day yesterday night, and Israel heavily was bombardment and targeting the east of Gaza City and the north of Gaza City. So since yesterday night, the artillery, Israeli artillery, it was continuously bombard the east and north Gaza City, and there is also an Israeli order for displaced the Palestinian and for evacuation some area from North Gaza City to order them to move to South Gaza City, to South Gaza Strip, sorry, and also Israel's focused bombardment in Deir el-Balah that the center of Gaza Strip. So yesterday night, it was a most tough night within continuous Israel bombardment in this area, and most of the civilians now shelterless, without any shelter, without any place to settle down in from north to south, and it's making the situation more exacerbated and making the situation of the civilians more tough. Civilians suffering from the lack of food, suffering from the lack of money as well to survive and to continue their everyday life. UNRWA reported that children from Gaza, the highest children suffering from the amputation because of the war, several of children got injured during this war, and they are amputated their bodies because of this injury. And also that there is no mention about the famine in Gaza and the malnutrition in Gaza. People are still suffering from the lack of food and still suffering from the health care as well because of the health collapse in Gaza. There is no health system in Gaza, even city or South Gaza Strip. So on the ground, it's incredible situation, while also Benjamin Netanyahu, his rejection for the proposal that put by Egypt and Qatar that exacerbated the situation more. Also yesterday, Israel invaded some area from Gaza, a part of Zaytun neighborhood and Ad-Daraj neighborhood, also Shijaiya neighborhood in East Gaza City. Also in North Gaza City, in Jabalia, in in Jabalia, in Beit Hanun, Beit Lahia, all of these area, it's semi-empty from the civilians. While yesterday also Israel started bombardment Sheikh Redwan in West Gaza City. So that's created a situation more miserable on the ground, and civilians now asking where we should go and what we should do within a lack of the cash, the cash money. There is no cash with them. So Osuma, also UNRWA warned about the prank of the famine in Gaza. And they are asking for the international community to interfere to stop this situation, which will make it more miserable within Israel. Also size more than 90% of Gaza City, Gaza Strip, and all of this 90% of Gaza Strip, it's a military area. UNRWA mentioned that the children of Gaza, can't survive like any children of the world, because of 90% of the space of Gaza, it's under the military and occupied by Israel. So there is no school, there is no university, and the education system is totally collapsed. The also health system, it's totally collapsed. The social cohesion, it's impacted by this war. Several of civilians now without a shelter, they are sleeping on the ground, on the street, without even any tent, without any things. So they are suffering day after day, and the situation is more exacerbated because of the Israelis plan for the going through the second phase of Guardian's chariot operation, the military operation. Also, the Palestinian resistance still resist the Israelis' invasion on the ground. We have seen the Khan Yunis ambush, and we have seen also some resistance in East North Gaza City. Usuma.
Ali, thank you very much for sharing that and telling us the reality of what